We've just released two important resources that I'm covering over this episode of McBLOG and the last episode. And they cover two key issues: the sexuality and gender theory indoctrination happening in our schools, and the new atrocious and flawed conversion therapy law. Let's check them out. So yesterday we discussed a new guide on the conversion therapy law, and you can view that on our website, familyfirst.nz, under fact sheets. And today I want to highlight a new resource that we've just released on gender theory and sexuality education, which is rife in our schools. Now, the government declared at the beginning of 2022, this year, that they were launching a new offensive to push radical sexuality and gender ideology at your children. Well, they didn't use those quite words, but that's exactly what they're doing. Because when you see the full program, you probably won't be too comfortable with it. In fact, you'll probably be quite angry. The curriculum has actually been around since 2020, but there's a renewed effort by the Ministry of Education and activists to fully embed the program in all schools at all levels. And radical gender theory and sexuality is being indoctrinated into children as young as 5. I mean, they want 7 and 8-year-old children to be able to, quote, identify gender stereotypes, understand the difference between gender and sex, and know that there are diverse gender and sexual identities in society, end quote. And they also teach that there are more than 2 genders, labeling them the, quote, assumption that there are only 2 genders, girl, boy, or man, woman, as incorrect, end quote. Now, as you will read in this fact sheet, they want this indoctrination in all school lessons: science, technology, social sciences, English. And I've already shown you this before, but here's the dictionary of terms they want to instruct your children with. You know, asexual, bisexual, cisgender, heteronormativity, intersex, non-binary, pansexual, your sex assigned at birth, transitioning, and transsexual. And most disturbing, and remember this is primary school, most disturbing is that teachers are encouraged by the Ministry of Education to keep a child's gender identity issues secret from their parents by allowing the child to adopt a new persona while at school, including the use of preferred pronouns. There's no requirement to inform parents that there are identity issues or gender dysphoria. Now, the fact sheet also talks about the fact that these gender fluidity sexual programs are often masqueraded as anti-bullying programs, ignoring all the many other reasons that kids get bullied. But any student that doesn't buy into the groupthink on gender ideology and the pink shirt day will immediately be bullied themselves with terms such as homophobic, transphobic, and bigoted. So getting rid of all bullying is obviously not the intention of these groups. Now, family planning's Navigating the Journey is certainly the key program to avoid. It's saturated with gender ideology, sees that sex and gender are not the same thing, although commonly mistaken to be. And you'll see examples of reading material pushing terms such as trans, genderqueer, non-binary, gender fluid, agenda, big ender, bigender, third gender, two-spirit. I mean, the terminology just goes on. And this continues for 9 to 10-year-olds. And then at intermediate age, there's advice for 11, 12, 13-year-olds that most STIs are curable. We need to tell our sexual partners about them, where the confidential services are. Notice the emphasis on confidential. Don't want pesky parents to be aware. And it says if you're thinking about having sex, keep safe. Remember, this is 11, 12, 13-year-olds. Isn't this simply another term for grooming? And check out these activity cards. Yeah. Now, the fact sheet also warns about other programs that parents should be aware of and should check out, including Mates and Dates, Inside Out, The Real Sex Talk, The Pleasure Project, and even an outdoor education program called Going with the Flow. And finally, some advice. How can you as a parent protect your own children, but also protect the children at your local school? It's time to be the loudest voice for your children on this topic. Now, you can download this fact sheet from our website for free. You can see there's a number of topics there. We're building the number of fact sheets, including the conversion therapy one that we talked about yesterday. But in the area of gender ideology and sexuality, let's not leave the door open for our children to be taught about sexuality and gender theory by the voices of people whose agendas and values don't align with ours. It's time to push back for the sake of our children.